Who the f*** is Phil?
All right.
What's up?
Anthony, what's happening?
Not much. What's going on?
Phil's After Hours
Yep.
taking effect.
Taking effect.
Tonight, the first one.
Grand finale.
That's it.
Let's make it happen.
I'm honored to kind of be launching this with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to be producing the podcast.
Yes, I'm very excited about that.
And I know a lot of people have a lot of, I guess, questions, or they want some answers to some questions and stuff. But
Yeah, of course.
one question I have for you, what are we eating?
I
Because
put the order in already.
you put it in already.
Yes.
What'd you get?
Baked clams, fried calamari, and artichoke oregano to start. And
Fantastic.
I know you said you want a chicken palm. We're going to make a chicken palm for you.
Chicken palm's my
But
go-to.
you might not want a chicken palm after we eat all this.
All right.
But we'll see. We'll make you a small
Because
one.
I've been here before and I've had the food here. It's excellent. So I don't need the menu.
Okay.
So put the menu
You're
away,
good. You
right?
don't
All
need
right,
it.
we're good? Okay. All right. So Phil's After Hours.
Yep.
Obviously, I have some questions for you.
Okay, shoot. What's the first question? Cheers.
Well, salute. Absolutely. Chendan.
I'm just drinking soda.
A little vino would be kino, but
Beautiful.
I'm always about the wine. I like my wine. So let's talk about what this podcast is going to be about.
Okay.
Obviously, you are in the restaurant business.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about your background, how you got started, where you grew up,
Okay.
how this all came about.
I grew up in Woolston Park. I was in the auto business for like 12 years.
Fantastic, because I was in the auto.
Really? I didn't know
business
that,
too.
you see?
You didn't know that?
I worked in an auto parts store from the age of 12 to 24.
I sold cars.
Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't steal them though. You didn't steal
Well,
them.
that's
All right.
that's a whole different discussion from back in the day. but-
Yeah. So I did that until I was like 24, and I got a coffee truck route, believe it or not. You know those little trucks that go
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
office buildings, movie sets and stuff like that. They sell coffee. I had one of those for a few years. And there was a guy on my route that I used to buy pizza from. And I'm like, wow, this guy, he's like my age. His father owned the pizzeria. He kind of ran it for the father. I told you his name. Remember the guy from Whitestone?
Yes.
Can I say his name?
I mean, that's up to you.
His name
I mean,
was
I don't want you-
Alfredo,
I don't
yeah.
want you. I don't want you calling people out.
No,
but
his
it's-
name was
it's good. If
Alfredo.
you're giving-
Actually, I
if you're
spoke
giving-
to him today because he saw me on social
If you're
media.
giving
Yeah.
props, and it's all about love.
No, he's a great guy. I love him.
This podcast is all going to be about love.
Yes,
all right? The
exactly.
podcast where you spoke about
Yeah.
introducing
Yep.
other restaurant owners,
Yeah.
influencers,
Yes.
foodies. So
Whoever. Let's
it's
bring
all
him
about
in.
love. So
It's all about promoting your business or promoting yourself or whatever your business is.
And that's how I kind of found you. I mean, I saw you through
Yes.
social media. So the power of social media. But continue. Go ahead.
Yes. So I'll never forget. I was at a Knick game. Me and my girlfriend at the time. I wasn't even engaged, and there was like a delay. The game was like postponed for whatever reason, and my girlfriend and I went to get something to eat. And I saw this guy that was on my coffee truck route that I used to buy egg sandwiches from. He owned the deli. It was like my age. So I said to my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, I said, wow, I would love to have something like that. Like, I know this guy that's got a pizzeria on my route. Like, I wish I could have a business like him, but it'll never be. So she said to me, why can't you have that business? And I said, because like, how am I ever going to like open up a pizzeria from like scratch? She's like, oh, you should talk to my dad. My dad knows a guy, whatever, you know how it is. Everybody knows a guy. So she ended up introducing me to this guy, and he was a very nice guy. I went to his pizzeria. It was actually in Massapequa. And he's like, listen, you can come here on your days off if you want. I'll teach you. He's like, you can come here as many days as you want. Obviously, it was known that I wasn't going to get paid to go there. I was going to be there observing. You can come every day. You come once a day or whatever, whenever you want to come. So I ended up going every Saturday for about a year. And there was a place for sale that he knew about. And he said, oh, there's a place for sale next door to your father-in-law's butcher shop that he used to have in Queens. Ask your father-in-law because he knows the guy. So I went to my girlfriend's house that night, who was my wife, obviously. And I said, I heard this place is for sale next door where your father had the butcher shop. So she asked her dad. He's like, nah, no way. That guy will never sell that place. He's been there since 1969. He's never going to sell
And
the
this
place.
is where in Queens.
In Belrose, Queens, yeah. Right on the Queens-Nassau County borderline.
On Jericho Turnpike as
Yeah,
well.
they called it Jamaica Avenue at
Which-
the time, but now they changed it to
Right,
Jericho, I
right.
guess, for whatever reason.
Which is wild because Phil's of Syosset, only in Syosset.
only in Syosset. Phil's
is on
only in
Jericho.
Syosset.
Is
It's
on Jericho
yes.
Turnpike. Yeah, so
And
there
the
you go.
auto parts store I worked in was on Jericho Turnpike.
there
I've
you
had
go.
3 jobs my entire life, not even jobs. They were all on Jericho Turnpike. How crazy is that?
See that?
Yeah. So her father called the guy up, and she says, "Yeah, I heard the place for sale. Yeah, I want to sell the place, whatever, this and that. I got somebody that is interested in it. Make a long story short, I ended up buying the place, and the person that I was training with in Massapequa, I brought. His name was George, great guy, and we went to go look at the place together. And he said to me, "Wow, this is a great place. I've known this place since I'm a little kid. I lived right down the road, not too far, next town over. If you want to buy the place, I would love to be your partner." I was like honored. This guy's been in business like 20 years. He's taken some guy that is new into the business. He wants to be my partner. And I really didn't know him that well. So, I didn't want to go to bed with the guy yet because I didn't know him too
But
well.
you had. We spoke about this. You had. You've kind of dreamt about wanting to own a pizzeria.
Always, yes.
Always. So
Yeah.
this was kind of like manifesting itself.
Yeah,
right?
it was like in my brain. Like, it actually was like, literally like a dream come true. So I ended up buying the place with my brother-in-law, not with this guy, George. And I had it for like 6 years. And then, George and I kept in touch. We talked 5 times a day, 10 times a day, once a day. We spoke a lot. We became very good friends. And I'll never forget, he called me up on a Saturday afternoon. And I had heard he was looking to buy a place in Syosset, only in Syosset.
Only in Syosset.
And
We got some bread for the table.
He
Nice.
said, "Yep, good bread, St. Rocco's, the best."
There you go.
And he goes, "Oh, yeah, we're looking to buy a place in Syosset. My brother and I, this and that. It's a big place. We don't want to really spread ourselves too thin. We're looking for a third partner, to kind of run the store." So I said, "All right, if you're interested in me, let me know." He's like, "Why? You would leave your brother-in-law to come partners with us?" I said, "Yeah, in a heartbeat. Not for a bad reason. We had a little pizzeria together. Our families were growing. It was a stepping stone for me. I needed to move on to something bigger. My family was getting bigger. And I said to my brother-in-law, I have an opportunity, He's like, "Well, what are we going to do? We're going to sell the store?" I said, "We could do whatever you want. We could sell the store. You could buy me out, or you could stay here and I could find somebody to buy my half out." So he ended up buying me out. I went partners with George and his brother here in Syosset, and here I am. The
Now
rest
you
is
got
history.
now you got George, you got Anthony, who you are obviously,
Yeah.
and but let's talk about how everybody on social media thinks your name is Phil. So
Yes, exactly.
it was originally the pizzeria was called Phil's.
So when we
I'm
first-
sure a lot of people don't know because that's the inside joke on social media.
Exactly.
Is that they call you Phil, but you're not
Yes.
Phil, you're Anthony.
Yes.
And now you're even getting shirts that says I'm not Phil, I'm Anthony.
Exactly.
But
So,
you kept the name
Yes.
because of the branding for branding
from
purposes.
Massapequa,
From
because they have the one in Massapequa.
Right.
So he had said, "Listen, we have the Phils in Massapequa. A lot of people that live up in Syosset work down here. Let's keep the name the same." The name had some balls, at the time. Now, because of me, it's got bigger balls. It does. Let's just be honest.
Well, let's call it what it is.
Let's call a
right?
spade a spade.
Let's call it what it is.
I gave
exactly.
it bigger balls.
Well,
And
what's
he-
funny is because I come from
Yeah.
well, I grew up in the borough of Queens. I call Queens the borough of balls. But now I come to Syosset, you got bigger balls here, which is
Yeah.
obviously the case. So
So he said, "Let's name it Phil's because, we got a good following already. We'll keep the ball rolling," which is what we did. We named it Phil's, and here I am. I'm Anthony.
there you go.
You know?
There you go. Was there someone that inspired you to want to get into the pizza business, like an owner, a chef, something that you saw growing up as a kid? Because I like we said, you wanted to open up a pizzeria. That was
I
kind of a
did.
dream of yours. Like,
Yeah.
And again, my definition of success is the progressive realization of,
Yeah.
of a worthy ideal. So I don't care whether it's
I wouldn't say owning a pizzeria from like childhood, but I always knew I wanted to be in business. Like the auto parts store I worked at as a kid, like that was something that I was very interested in at the time, Then I got into the food truck. But the food truck was just like crazy hours. I was waking up at 1 a.m. I had no life whatsoever. I was working until 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, going home, going right to sleep. I had the weekends free, but I was like exhausted from working all those crazy hours. But when I saw this one guy, Alfredo, that I was picking up the pizza from, I was like, wow, this is a great business. Like, it looks great. He's in here. The people are talking to him.
I was in the pizza business for a short period of time.
Okay.
My uncle had a pizzeria in East Harlem
Yeah.
on 103rd in Lexington
Yeah.
back in the early 90s.
It's
And
great.
I've
It's
always-
very rewarding.
Well,
know?
I took a lot of pride in working at the pizzeria because I just take pride in everything I do as far as like anything I do in life. But again, whether like my definition of success is a lot different from someone else's definition of my definition of success, which I've learned through some mentors that I've listened to throughout the years, is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So
Yeah.
your worthy ideal of thinking about, you know, getting into the pizzeria business, and it kind of manifested itself.
Yeah,
That's how-
definitely.
that's
But
how-
that
that's how
guy
it happened.
Alfredo was definitely, you know, not that he was just like this pizzeria rock star, but you know, we became very good friends.
Oh, here we
Thank
go.
you, Miguel.
Here we go.
Thank you.
The good stuff
Thank you,
coming
thank
now.
you.
Great.
What about some plates, Miguel?
Wow.
Then you know, like I said, the guy Alfredo was definitely like an inspiration to me because, you know, he was my age, you know, and it was just something that looked very interesting, you know? Looked very interesting. Thank you.
I'm excited right now.
Just some sauce for the calamari. Thank you, thank you. Beautiful.
Obviously, that's always been the inside. Well, I don't want to call it an inside joke, but everyone on social media, like, is sauce gravy. Well, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, that's a whole discussion.
We
like,
know what color gravy is.
I think that's you know.
Yeah. We could have a whole
don't-
episode on that.
Right,
Yeah,
I'm
we don't
like,
want
but
to.
you know
We
what?
don't want to
But
waste our
that's-
time
yeah.
with that. Give me a plate.
So I'm gonna take a little sauce with that, Ann, if that's okay.
Exactly.
I'm
You
not
can have-
asking for gravy because
No.
I know everybody talks about this
Yeah.
sauce versus gravy thing. I'm kind of over it.
Because we
But
don't have gravy.
What's your take on it?
This
Yeah,
is
just-
sauce.
There you go.
See the color of it? It's red.
Yeah.
Gravy is brown.
There you go.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, all I want you to do,
Yeah.
simple. Go on Google
Yeah.
and Google gravy. All right? And hit image. You know, at the top of Google, you can hit image. Hit image and tell me what you see. All you're going to see is what you're going to see. You're going to see gravy. You're going to see it.
Awesome. But I understand the argument
Yeah.
that gravy is for turkey and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But when people say gravy, they actually mean when you add meat to it, it becomes a
Yes.
gravy.
Which is called sugo, right?
Yeah, sugo.
Sugo di carne, right? How do you
Right.
say? You're more Italian than me.
Well, sugo di carne, right?
Yeah, there you go. Which means juice of meat, not gravy.
Right.
The word gravy does not even exist in the
obviously,
Italian language.
Obviously, when people hear gravy, I mean, what do you think of? You think of like turkey gravy.
I think
but-
about potatoes, and I think about a diner getting French fries with mozzarella and gravy. That's what I think about.
artichoke, nice. Tell me about the first time or the first video that went viral. What was the first video? Because obviously, you know, I know you become a viral hit on social media. What was the first video that took off for you?
So the first video, what gave me the idea was I always felt this industry needed a reality show. Not necessarily me, Anthony, not Phil, only in Syosset or Phil's, but somebody in this industry needed a reality show because this business has so many moving parts. And I feel if you could succeed in this business, you could do anything in the world. Nobody ever got a reality show. They had that other guy, he had some restaurant show in the city. It was a disaster of a show. It didn't last. You know who I'm talking about.
I know. My mother
Whatever.
was on it.
I'm
I
not
was
even-
on it.
I'm not even going to
I
mention his
worked on it,
name.
but it's all good.
So, you know, God bless him. He's doing well for himself.
But technically now, reality TV is podcasts.
It is.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, all these platforms, which are great. TikTok. What else is there? Snapchat. I don't even have that, but I see kids on that all the time. But anyway, I said, you know what? I got to start exposing the madness. Literally, let me expose the madness that goes on here. So I saw this guy do a video where he was making some sort of drink in like a martini glass, and he was pouring it. It was on Instagram, I saw it. He was pouring it in a glass. So this guy walks up to him and says, "Oh, I wanted mine over ice." So the guy looks at him. He goes, "Did you tell me that when you ordered it?" So the guy goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, this ain't your fucking drink. Go sit down. I'll let you know when yours is ready." I said, "Oh my God, I could do this. I could do this and really bring it to the next level." Because I got that fucking attitude. So I said to Anthony, this guy Anthony that works here, who you know, I said, "Ant, we got to do this video." You know, Anthony's got no social media. You know, he's just a regular guy. You know, He doesn't care about computers, nothing like that.
So this is kind of like almost an alter ego
Yes,
scenario.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I hand him my phone. I'm like, here, press record, and ask me if that slice of pizza is whatever. I said, ask me if the slice of pizza is yours. I think I said, or say to me, hey, my slice is supposed to be to go or to stay, whatever the first video was. So he comes up to me with the camera. I was putting his slice in a bag, and he goes, hey, sir, that slice was to stay. I said, did you tell me that when you ordered it? So he goes, yeah. I said, well, that ain't your fucking slice. Go sit down. I'll let you know when yours is ready. And I posted it. And I remember my wife says to me, she goes, oh my God. She goes, you're out of your fucking mind. You got to take that video down. I said, why? I can't believe the way you curse like that. You're going to lose so many customers. I'm like, nah, don't worry about it. All of a sudden, the comments start coming in. Bad, Gino, bad. I'm like, oh my God, these people are shredding me. I'm like, maybe my wife is right. Maybe I got to take this video down. I'm like, you know what? I'm not taking this fucking video down. I shut the comments off. I just had the video up. I shut the comments off. So whatever comments were there were existing. My friend Jim calls me. He goes, oh my God, that video is awesome. This was the following day. The video is awesome, Anthony. I said, oh, thank you. He goes, I tried to make a comment, but I saw you shut the comments off. I said, yeah, I know, I did. I said, I'm thinking about putting the comments back on. What do you think? He goes, it's your call, whatever you think. I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to put the comments back on. I turn the comments back on. All of a sudden, the wave starts shifting to my direction. Now people are fighting for me. All the people that wrote bad stuff, these people are writing against them. Like, who are you? This and that. It was just awesome.
Well, again, a lot of people on social media, they don't read,
No.
they don't read, right? So like, obviously they're going to say like, oh, who is this guy?
This guy treats his
He
customers like
treats his
that?
customers
How
like
is he in
that, this and
business?
that.
Oh, it was insane.
Listen, I don't care what business you're in. There's an inner thing that you kind of like want to say to the customer, but you don't.
Yes.
So that was kind of like one of the main reasons I suggested to you to do a podcast.
Exactly.
Was to show that you are human. You're
Yeah.
a great family guy. You're a great guy.
Thank you.
You may come across that on social media, but that's all in fun.
That's it. It's
That's
just
all
for
in
fun.
fun. You're a family
it's
guy.
How I would like to act
Right.
when people ask me stupid
Right.
stuff.
So it's social media. It's
Exactly.
it's entertainment. So
Exactly.
that was kind of again the gist of why I recommended you do a podcast, to show that you are a human person, that you actually started from somewhere. It's
Yeah.
not like you just said, oh, I'm going to open up a pizzeria today and
Yeah.
go into business and start treating customers like shit.
No,
That's
no,
not you.
I wouldn't be
it's
here.
It's a joke.
How
It's
would I be
fun.
here?
Right. It's fun.
Exactly.
And you know what? And people come in to meet you, and then they realize, oh shit, he is a regular guy.
Yeah.
Like, how did we meet?
Exactly.
I came in, right?
Yep.
I came in. I'm
You
like,
came in here that night. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
I came
thought you were
in-
here to hold me up or something, or
well,
shake me down for
I-
some money
you
or
know what?
something.
I can't.
He
well,
came in
I-
here with this big Parker on. I'm like,
see-
holy shit, here we
well,
go.
see, that's kind of where I get boxed in,
Yeah.
where people like to judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Like I'm a teddy bear. That's
You
just that's my personality. But I have a very hard exterior. I got a scar that I got. People always ask me, how'd you get that scar? So like a lot of people do judge a book by its cover, but when
Yes,
you
they
really
do.
get to know somebody,
And we do too.
yeah. When you really get to know somebody, it's like, oh, I get it. So that's why I suggested, wanted to show that you are a real person. You're not that guy.
No.
That's just fun.
But I
And
can
people
be that guy if I want to.
If you want to be
If
that
I
guy,
want to.
we all
But I
could-
want to be in business.
we could all be that guy, right? We could all be that guy.
Exactly.
I mean, I grew up in Flushing, Queens, Whitestone area. I was good on the street, but I was also smart in school. And then look at me, I turned out to be, an artist, a filmmaker,
Yeah.
actor. But again, a lot of people like to judge a book by its cover.
Yes.
So I'm glad that people will get to see who Anthony of Phil's Only in Syosset is, versus thinking that you are the guy Phil.
Yes, which is why, like, on the Phil's of Syosset page, I do like to post some personal stuff that I'm doing with my family, just to show them, like, I'm not just working here 24/7 and, not enjoying life a little bit. Because believe it or not, customers do like to see that you are enjoying life.
Absolutely.
It does make some people happy.
Absolutely.
And there is jealousy out there. You do have to be careful of jealousy. Unfortunately, they're out there. But I do like to, like,
And
this past weekend, I brought my...
especially in our culture and the Italian community,
Yes.
they could pat us on the back all they want. Yeah, we're your brothers and sisters, but
Yeah.
sono geloso.
Yep.
As we, as we
Exactly.
say in the Italian, there are people giving them a
Yes.
lucky, but again, put that in the rear
Yes,
view.
but
You're
listen,
just-
Gino, at the end of the day, if we were all friends, we wouldn't have no enemies.
right.
Let's just all be friends.
Exactly.
Who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Now this is fantastic. The calamari.
Thank you.
See, I don't
Have an
say
artichoke.
calamari.
Have an artichoke.
Calamari.
You're not Galamar, it's
Not
calamari.
Yeah. That's like
That's another thing.
That's a
Oh
whole.
my
That's a
God.
whole different story.
Oh, I'm old school Italian. My parents called it Galamar. You know,
Yeah,
your parents
okay.
are stupid.
Yeah. This is all excellent,
Thank you.
but I know you got a couple of signature dishes here.
do.
And it's the home of the.
Drunk Sicilian, the angry grandma, the angry drunk, the forget about it. Listen, the drunk Sicilian might not have been invented here because people made the Sicilian with vodka sauce before me. I'm not going to take credit for that. But I did invent the forget about it.
Tell us about the forget about it, because I tried it. It was
Yeah. So the forget
Off the
about it
charts.
is it's made in a square tray. You know, it's in a pan. We put fresh mozzarella, regular mozzarella, burrata, you call it stracciatella, the filling of the burrata, and we make it with fig jam. And it is insane.
everything's fancy these days.
Very fancy.
Burrata,
You got to be
this and
careful
that.
how you say certain things because people get upset. Oh,
Everything's
that's not how
fancy.
you say
You know
it.
what? This is how I grew up.
Exactly.
Formaggio.
Yes, exactly.
Cheese. That's
Then-
it.
then
Anything
we-
cheese, and we spoke about this.
Yes,
You love
exactly.
cheese as much as I love cheese.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to eat cheese all day. That's it. If I could,
best.
it doesn't have carbs. It's good for you. You know what I'm saying?
They say it's protein, but you know what? As we get older, I kind of have to watch the dairy. But
Yeah, it gets stuck in the arteries, but that's all right. Just
but I love the forget about it. Like,
it's really good.
yeah,
And
it's
then
fantastic.
we make the vodka rita, which is like a margarita, but we make it with vodka sauce and the burrata on top. We made that here. I don't care what anybody says. We made it here. We made the forget about it as well and named it everything insane.
I'm gonna pour a little more wine. If that's okay.
Go for it. And then we have that other slice that everybody's making. Everybody calls it the MVP, marinara, vodka sauce, pesto. But, I'm like, you know what? I got to name this something different. I can't just call it the MVP. People come up to the counter and they're like, oh, can I get this slice right here or this or that, one of these, one of those? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to name this slice this one right here. So with the hand pointed down. So we named it this one right here. So people come in, they're like, what is this? I'm like, this one right here. Well, like, what is it? It's this one right here. But what's on it? Oh, it's vodka sauce, pesto, marinara. Oh, it's an MVP, right? No. Well, maybe the guy that you get it from calls it an MVP. But over here, it's called this one right here.
Since we're talking about customers and
Yeah.
stuff, give me like the 3 most outrageous customer requests.
Forget
that
it. I mean, I could go on all day.
That you've got. Give us the top 3
right.
that kind of like made your head
A couple of
spin.
days ago, this lady comes in. She's placing an order. She's like, I need a Sicilian pie with no middle. I'm looking at this lady. I'm looking around. I'm like, am I on fucking camera right now? I said it out loud. I'm like, am I on like candid camera or something like that? She goes, no, why?
So you're being punked.
She goes, my husband doesn't like middles. I said, well, we cut our pie where there's no middle. You can cut a rectangular pie with no middle. We cut it in 10 with no center. She goes, yeah, but he likes all corners. I said, but you do understand rectangular and square has 4 corners. So 4 of those slices only are going to be corners. The other 4 are going to have
It's like a riddle.
sides.
It's like a riddle.
She goes, yeah, my husband really likes 4 corners. I'm like, listen, your husband, don't worry about it. Just explain to your husband we don't cut it where there's a center. That was crazy. What else? Oh, you get people that come in. I made a video about it. People that come in, you give them a pie. Obviously they're going to leave with it. And they're like, you got a bag for this? A bag? Yeah, a bag. It's raining outside. No, I don't have a bag for this. I have these little shopping bags. They literally want you
But
to
it
like,
comes in a. I mean, the
comes
pizza
in a
comes
box.
in a
Yeah,
box,
it's not gonna
right?
hit
So
with
I mean,
water.
the box is like thick enough to,
Yeah.
go against the rain.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. And then you got another one. This lady calls up. These are all recents. Like 2 weeks ago, this lady calls up and she goes, yeah, can I get a Tuscan salad with everything on the side? I'm like, what do you mean with everything on the side? She goes, yeah, I want everything that's on the salad on the side. I'm like, well, if you have an allergy, we could put up to 2 things on the side. Otherwise, I got to put everything in all these different containers. It's almost like you're making them a salad bar, or like Roy Rogers had that fixin' state. What do they call that?
I mean, you're talking Roy Ron. I'm thinking
Yeah,
beefsteak
beefsteak
Charlie.
Charlie.
Beefsteak
Oh, my
Charlie's
God.
all you can eat shrimp. I remember.
Yeah.
Remember the.
I'm like, what does this lady think? It's like the fixins bar over here at
Yeah.
Roy Rogers. This is insanity. Like, if you have an allergy, legit, we'll be glad to put the stuff on the side. But I'm gonna use 10 containers for this salad. God forbid you got to say like, you want to charge them for the containers. Like, it's a nickel and dime business. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not
not.
making tons of money.
Everyone thinks, oh, the pizza business, it's water, dough, sauce, cheese.
No, it's
oh,
it is.
but
guess what?
Yeah,
Water's expensive.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be.
right,
Flour's expensive.
Right.
It's not like it used to be.
Right.
Years ago, a bag of flour was $5.
right.
50 pounds for $5. It's not like that no
I'm gonna
more.
make you laugh right now. So when I was working at my uncle's pizzeria in East Harlem,
Okay.
and we're talking 1990, 91, there were, the crack was on the street back in the early 90s. Like
Yeah.
it was at its peak. So my uncle, would get a lot of stuff from a lot of crack addicts that would come into the pizzeria and kind of
Yeah.
sell it off and stuff. And it was
Cheap.
kind of like, almost like off the truck. But so I'll never forget. And I never spoke about this, but it's funny because I could talk about it now. So my uncle told me, he goes, he used to talk like this. He goes, this crackhead came in and he came in with bags of, he ripped off a Dunkin' Donuts and he brought in, these Dunkin' Donut dough bags. And I go, okay. And he goes, I bought a couple. So I went to the basement, bought a couple. He bought like 30 bags of Dunkin' Donuts that you make donuts with.
The flour.
Yeah. And he would add the Dunkin' Donuts flour to the regular flour.
Really?
And it had a sweet taste to it. And everybody in the neighborhood would come in and go, my uncle's name was Rocky. Go, Rocky, this pizza tastes so sweet. How do you make it? It's a secret recipe.
yeah.
Meanwhile, it was flour mixed. It was Dunkin' Donuts flour mixed in with the regular pizza. Anyway.
What happens when a crackhead gets arrested? How's he going to make this?
Exactly. But I'll never forget that because I can never say, oh, well, my uncle bought, Dunkin' Donuts flour that was stolen off a truck to make the pizza. That's why it's sweet. But again, I would get a kick out of it because I knew where it came from.
Yeah.
But
What about calamari with no legs? Can I get fried calamari with no legs?
yeah, how do you do that?
Like,
How do you
really?
do that?
Just order the fried calamari and put them on the side. I got to pick through calamari to take these delicious legs out.
Now,
don't know what they're missing.
are the legs your
I
favorite
think
part
they're
of calamari?
like, it's a delicacy. They're crunchy,
Now, we also had this conversation. Tell me about one of the most interesting things that happened during the pandemic. Because there was a lot of, again, a lot of the restaurants during the pandemic.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't
yeah.
even want to go back and think about it, but for the sake of this
But the
conversation,
blessing that happened during the
Yes.
pandemic.
the blessing that happened for me was the Dave Portnoy thing, the Barstool Fund. A lot of people don't know. I mean, there's people that come in here and they don't know me or they don't know about what happened, but this fucking guy, an angel from God, Dave Portnoy.
Well, here's your chance to actually really thank him on social media.
He started this fund. I think he raised like $400 million, or a ridiculous amount of money like that. How this guy did this, I have no idea. Some of the money was his, and he started this Barstool Fund, and he said you could apply for this fund for small. It started out with restaurants, actually, not just small businesses, restaurants, pizzerias, whatever. And I saw it. I was like, wow, it's almost like he's like going to help you out. So my friend's son calls me up one day, and he goes, listen, he goes, did you apply for the Barstool Fund? I said, yeah, I did. I went on the website. I wrote them an email. I followed all the instructions, this and that. He goes, did you send him a video? I'm like, no. He's like, you got to make him a video. And believe it or not, we're having this conversation right now. At that time, I wasn't a camera guy. I don't want to be in front of the camera. I'm shy. Believe it or not, I'm very shy. He goes, Anthony, you got to make a video. Whatever you're doing right now, stop what you're doing and make a video. I was on my way to work. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning, like the height of the pandemic. Nobody's on the road. I'm on the 135. On the 135. I'm going to show you this video. I can show you that I was on the 135. I'm not lying to
The
you.
people I know the 135. Where's the 135?
Seaford Oyster Bay Expressway.
There you go.
It goes north to south.
Long Island.
Long Island. Long Island.
Long Island.
So I'm on this parkway, highway, interstate, whatever you call it. And I make this video. And I send it to Dave Portnoy, or the email that was on there. And the next day, I don't know if I got a phone call or no, you know what? I got an email. It was an email from this person that worked for Barstool, and they were requesting certain documentation. So I remember I called up my partner at the time, who was George. I said, oh my God, George, I just got this email. They asked me for this, this, and that. And at the time, he handled most of the financials here. I said, I need this, this, and that. And I need them right away because the email said you have 72 hours to respond. I'm like, I need it today. I want this stuff today. He got me the stuff that day, and I sent it all over to them. So I think it was a couple hours later, I get a phone call here from Barstool. This woman introduces herself to me, and she goes, listen, we need a cell phone number because you're being considered for the fund. I don't want you to get too excited, but if you have an Apple phone, I need your cell phone number because Dave likes to FaceTime people. If you don't have an Apple phone,
Surprise them, right?
If you don't have an Apple iPhone, you have to download WhatsApp because he wants to video you. I know. Here's my cell phone number. I have an iPhone. The next day, I'm watching television. I was watching the inauguration of Joe Biden, and I feel my phone vibrating in my pocket. I take it out. I look at my phone. It says Boston FaceTime. Boston. You know Dave Portnoy's from Boston.
Yeah.
I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, is this fucking happening right now? Whatever. Let me answer it. I slide it to the side. I'm looking. Fucking Dave Portnoy right there. I'm like, holy shit. That's exactly what I said. Are you fucking kidding me? He's like, no, I'm not. I got your email. I saw your video.
That's fantastic.
We're going to help you out. But I will say, in that email that I answered all the questions to, they wanted to know exactly what you needed dollar-wise to survive. So I wrote in an amount, and I will say I got that exact amount every month for 9 months. And every month I would get an email. Do you need more? Do you need less? Are you okay? It was absolutely unbelievable. People all the time like, oh, is Dave Portnoy ever come here and try your pizza? You know what? Dave Portnoy can come here anytime he wants. I don't even want him to eat the pizza. Even if he gives me a 10-star review or a 1-star review, even if you get a 1-star
Well,
review,
he doesn't do the tens and he does the point.
But whatever.
But
if the guy was to come here, all I would want to do was hug the guy and thank him and just let him know.
Well, again, we're on a platform right now.
I mean,
is something you want to say him directly?
He saved my business. He saved my family, and I don't know how we would have done it without that amount of money that I asked for 9 months. And you know what? There was a few people out there that kind of laughed and said, oh, this is embarrassing. I can't believe he did this. People close to me also that I heard. And you know what? Here I am today.
See, I don't understand the embarrassing part because one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, listen, he helped out a business and we're still here,
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. Great story. Guy's unbelievable.
That's amazing.
And he continues to do great things. I'm not taking this opportunity to completely blow the guy up and talk about him only, but listen, the guy is continuing to do amazing stuff.
Tell me, what do you have in store? I don't want to use the or say the cliche stuff like where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, but what's new on the horizon for Phil's of Syosset?
I mean,
Phil's only in Syosset.
Only in Syosset.
Yeah, because I know you're working on a couple of things right now.
Yes. I mean, we have this podcast that I'm hoping does, I want to do great stuff with this podcast. I started something with two friends of mine 2 years ago called Long Island Pizza Strong. My son.
Tell me about that because that's in the charity.
I mean, we really don't move forward with it too much, unless there's something crazy going on, unfortunately.
God forbid.
But we started that little that fund, and it worked out great. We supported 3 projects already, 3 devastating projects, but it worked out good. And this, like I said, the podcast I'm hoping to continue. I'd like to do one once a week, and if I could pick up a sponsor or something, that'd be great. If not, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Let's talk about it now. We're here.
Yeah.
This is the first one. We wanted to talk about what the podcast was going to be about.
Yep.
Introducing the podcast again, connecting restaurant owners, business owners, influencers, foodies, like you're big on promoting other people's businesses and stuff. So
Always, yes.
we're gonna have some great people. You're
I
gonna have
have,
some great people on the
I have a lot of
podcast.
friends in the restaurant business
Yes,
that I
yes.
did meet on social media.
Right.
Let's face it, some of my closest friends I have met on social media.
And this is going to be a beautiful platform
Yeah.
to talk with your fellow colleagues and
social
stuff.
media has allowed us to touch people in a way that we
Right.
never would have been able to touch in our lives because,
Right.
you send somebody a message and, they respond to you. It's like, it's amazing. That's why, like, when I was a little guy and I had like 7 followers, I would send people messages. I wouldn't get responses, or I would. There was people that would respond to me. Now that I'm big and I have between Facebook and Instagram, I have 200,000+ followers. I try to answer everybody. I do, and anybody out there that does message me, they know I do answer them back.
Any loyal customers you want to give a shout out to?
You know what? All the customers, they're the best. I got some good customers. I really do, and they all love the videos. And the local businesses that, News 12, they're huge. They give us orders all the time. They're great. Who else is big around here? We have a lot of law firms, mortgage companies, doctors' offices, Syosset Hospital. They're always ordering from us, always commenting on the videos. It's amazing the amount of people that watch these damn videos and the age group from kids to old people. I can't believe it. It's just crazy.
And what would you
It's
say
flattering.
to
It's
yeah,
flattering.
Yeah. What
really.
would you say to some of these old school? Because obviously, some people are so old school
I know
that
what you're gonna say.
they're set in their ways.
They are.
They're like, well, I don't need social media. I've been in business for 50 years, 40
Yeah.
years, 30 years. What's the advice? Because that's the ongoing joke as well on
Yeah.
social media. You say, yeah, don't promote your business on social media.
Because,
like
listen,
today,
there are people that don't do it,
Right,
and there
exactly.
are people that I do know very well. And I hear the whispers because don't forget, the walls have ears.
Yes.
And there are some things that are being said about me about doing these videos and stuff like that they might not necessarily agree with or like. And I wouldn't say that they're making fun of me, but they're talking a little trash about me.
Yeah,
And
but that's always gonna happen. Like,
But you know what? At the end of the
that's
day,
always
there
gonna
goes
happen.
that subject we were just talking about, jealousy. They're jealous.
Yeah,
That's the
well,
problem.
Again, I come from the school of stop hating and do more
Yeah.
creating. That's
Like I said, let's all be friends,
Right.
and we have no enemies. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Let's get together. Listen,
but not everybody's like that.
no, I
Not
collaborate
everybody's
with a
like that.
lot of businesses. If you go on my Instagram account, there's a lot of restaurants that I collaborate with.
Yes.
I'm not shy. I don't care. And I'm the type of guy, I don't feel I have competition at all.
Right.
A couple weeks ago, the guy that owns a pizzeria very, very, very close to me, I don't want to shout him out yet, but I will if I feel the need to. Great guy. We have the same barber. I'm getting my hair cut, and my barber says, "Oh, so and so was talking to me about your videos. He loves them." I said, "Oh, wow. That's nice. What am I going to say?" 2 days later, I'm in here working. This guy comes in here. I see him with his head down. He wasn't being helped. I come behind the counter. I said, "Hey, can I help you, sir?" Comes up to the counter. He hands me like a little envelope. He goes, "This got delivered to my store by accident." He's that close to me. That they delivered the mail to him
How
instead
close?
of me.
Very close.
So he introduces himself to me, tells me his name, tells me what business he owns, and he looks at me. He goes, "I love your videos." I said, "Wow, thank you very much. That really means a lot." Like I just said to you, it's very flattering, and I'm blessed.
Well, you said something that I've been kind of following for a long time now. It's you don't compete, you create. So
No,
if you
that's
keep
it.
on creating what you've built from day one,
Yeah,
like again, once I went into that world of
Yeah.
just like not thinking like again in the film TV world, everyone's like, oh, that's such a hard business, and you're competing against this one and that
Yeah.
one. It's
You are
competitive.
your
There's a
own
lot of
competition.
rejection. There's a lot of rejection and all that stuff, and you're competing with this, that.
Yeah.
And once I adapted to
Yeah.
I don't compete, I create, it changed everything
Yeah.
for me.
Listen, I'm going to
'Cause I
sell
believe in
my
that.
pie for what I need to sell the pie to pay my bills,
Correct.
support my business,
Right.
support my workers, support my family. That's what I'm going to sell the pie for. I'm not going to go look at this guy's menu and compare what I'm going to sell my pie and try to sell it to the same price what he's selling it for to keep it the same. I'm going to sell for what I need to sell it for. So I've never looked at anybody's menu in the area. And there's quite a few places in the area, and I've never once in 19 years here looked at their menu. I could care less what they're selling food for. I don't care.
Yeah. What I love about what you're doing, what we're doing here is that you're connecting other restaurant owners, other
Yes.
business
Yep.
owners. Again, social media,
Yeah.
big with foodies,
Yeah.
influencers. So
Yep.
we're connecting it one episode
Yeah.
at a time. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I mean,
Any
we
questions that you may
know
have?
we've
Any questions you may
discussed.
have for me?
I don't want
Maybe.
to. I don't want to say it out loud, but we both know who our first guest is going to be, what restaurant owner it's going to be. I spoke to him today, and he said, "I don't want to blow it up yet. I want
No,
everybody to be
obviously.
excited, but we know." And he says to me, "Wow, it's amazing how many people come in here and talk about Phil's only in Syosset and associate the two of us together." I'm like, "Yeah, it's freaking crazy, isn't it?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, it's just bizarre. Why not? Who cares? Like, let's all be friends."
Well, again, it's like people that are supporting each other,
Yeah.
you're moving the needle. People that
Yes.
don't support each other just create more hate and
Yeah.
bullshit and drama, which
Yeah.
we don't need. We don't need more of these days.
I've
So,
had local restaurants coming in here because they ran out of bread. Do you have any extra bread? Yeah, here you go. Whatever. I sell it to them for whatever I pay for it. You have an extra sleeve of pizza boxes? Yeah, here you go. There's another thing. Another guy, you got a case of mozzarella? Yeah, I'll give it back to you on Sunday. Yeah, no problem. Whatever. I've done it
I
a
know you
million
said,
times.
and I know you said like you reenacted like a customer coming in here with not enough money, and you said straight out, like if you're out there and you want to be fed, and if you
Yes.
just say, you know what, I'm a little short
Yeah.
on money, and I
I
just
could feed you.
you'll feed them.
Listen,
Because-
I could feed
but
you
see,
all
that's-
day,
that's your-
but I can't pay your bills.
Right, but that's who you really are. Like
Yeah.
you got heart, even though your videos might come out like a little
Yes.
abrupt and like
But
people,
that's what gets their attention.
right, exactly. But
You
that's
know,
not
the
you,
negativity
which is awesome.
and what people think when they're responding in a negative way on these videos, they think like they're hurting me.
Right.
But all these people have never been in here anyway. But what they don't understand is what I have realized. I have educated myself on this social media. When you respond negatively on a post, you're feeding the algorithm.
No doubt.
The more negativity you
Yes.
give me, the more busier
Yes.
I get.
Yes, and like I've seen a couple of people that would respond like, "I would never eat that guy's food."
Yeah, it's garbage.
You're in Boise.
You've never been here.
You're in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
What do you know
You're in
about
Nebraska.
what his
You never
food
come in
tastes
here.
like? You never come in here. You just want to be,
Yeah.
what do they say? What do they say? Behind the scenes, like
Yeah.
Instagram or
Yeah, 'cause-
or social media tough guy or
Yeah,
or,
they're
come
all
on.
with the finger right here. They press on the keyboard.
Right.
The Instagram and the
With their
social media
emojis, with
and
the
the
throw up
internet has made these
emojis and
people.
this and the
It's
hate.
like they have a muscle on their finger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
tough guy. You know what? If you're tough, come in here and show me you're tough. How about that?
Well, speaking of that, I mean, is that something that like kind of like
I've had
'cause
some
you're-
issues.
You've
I've had some
you're
issues. Yes.
you're always here. Well, that's the thing
Yes.
about social media. Is
You know,
that,
when you put yourself out there, you got to be prepared for that.
well,
And I did put myself out
yeah,
there.
well, because
And I am prepared, and I have had some issues, but thank God, I got some good friends, and we have an amazing
that's the
police
wacky-
department.
Yeah, well, that's the wacky part about social media is that like they know where you are, right?
Yes.
So like you kind of have to just have
Yeah.
eyes in the back
Yes,
of your
because
head, right?
even
So-
my wife, she's like, "Oh my God, these fucking people are crazy. I can't believe they call you. I can't believe they come by to see you." I said, "Listen, you like Celine Dion, right? Imagine you could pick up the phone and call Celine Dion right now. Would you?" She's like, "No, but I'm sure she would." Imagine you call Celine Dion. "Hey, hi, is this Celine Dion?" "Yeah, it is." "Oh my God, this is Celine Dion." I am like the Celine Dion, not necessarily Celine
I know what
Dion,
you're
but I'm
saying.
just,
I know. You're just
using her as an
analogy. I get
example.
it. I get
I am the celebrity of these people, and I don't even feel like I am a celebrity, and
Right.
I'm not. But to them, it's like almost like a cult following. I'm a celebrity to these people. It's like I don't know, maybe I'm their voice. I have no idea what it is.
Of course, obviously, there's some weird things that happen because of social media, because of your presence on social media. But tell me about some positive things that have happened through social
I
media.
mean, listen, the positive things. I've had some amazing stuff happen to me. People recognizing me. I was at Madison Square Garden watching Sebastian Maniscalco. 6 different people walked up to me, maybe 7 or 8, walked up to me and wanted to take pictures with me. Then another story I could tell you, which those pictures are very flattering. I messaged Anthony Rodillo. Not that I messaged him, I commented on one of his stories on Instagram. And when you comment on a story, it goes right to their DM.
Right.
And he answered me back. I'm like, oh my God, this guy answered me back. This is crazy. He's a huge comedian. The guy's blowing up. So I'm like, oh my God, I'll see you Saturday. I'm coming there for the show. I would love to run into you. So he sends me a message back, says, you're on the guest list, the backstage guest list. I'm like, get out of here. He's like, yeah, I'm putting you down on the backstage list. I'm like, wow, Anthony, thank you so much. I'm like, but I'm coming with like 3 other couples, me and my wife and 3 other couples. I don't want to like impose, but would it be okay? He's like, just tell them Phil's only in Syosset and whoever you're with is coming backstage. We go backstage, we meet him. All of a sudden, I didn't even tell you the story. This guy walks up to me, doesn't say a word to me, takes a selfie with me and leaves. I'm not even kidding you, just like that. We go on about the night. Next day, I said to my wife, who was that guy that took a selfie with me? She goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, yeah, some guy came up to me and took a selfie and walked away. No, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. A couple hours later, I get a notification.
What's a selfie?
A selfie, like you hold your phone out.
It's like that's in a dictionary. It's
Yeah,
like,
a
it's like in the
selfie.
dictionary.
Selfie. What's a
is.
selfie?
Yeah, what's a selfie? No, I'm joking.
Does your mother know what a selfie is?
No.
Well, what's selfie?
No.
Exactly.
Please. My mother still has a flip phone, but
forget
anyway,
it.
that's another story.
So I get a notification on my phone that somebody tagged me in a post. It's Scotty B from Z100. You know Scotty B from Z100? So I open it up. It's a picture of me and him. He posted. I finally get to meet the Anthony from Phil's of Syosset. I'm like, oh my God. I message him. Thank you so much for this post. It was great to meet you last night. I never got to meet you, but it was great to take the picture with you. Messages me right back. Comes in for, where do you live? I live over here. I'm embarrassed to say I've never been there for dinner. He comes in for dinner. We exchange phone numbers. He invites me on the Elvis Duran show. Did you know this?
No, I didn't.
He's like, you got to wake up early in the morning. You know, maybe bring some pizza. They like pizza. We eat any time of the day.
You're up at the crack of dawn anyway. They're like you do those videos in your car, like
exactly
in the
too
crack of
early.
dawn, yeah.
So we go on the Elvis Duran show. We go upstairs and you know, he's like, listen, don't think you're going to meet Elvis or be on the show. He's like, you know, you're going to bring them some food. Maybe I'll introduce you to a few
You
people.
mean like Elvis, like he came back from the dead?
The Elvis? No, not the Elvis.
Elvis Duran.
Yeah.
It was a great guy. I know Elvis from like back in the day.
Yeah,
when I
really nice guy.
did some radio back in the day.
So we're in Scotty B's little booth. He's got the glass, you know, he's in there behind the glass. And all of a sudden, he takes this microphone and puts it in front of me because he had the headphones on. I couldn't hear what they were saying. And they had me live on air. It was insane. Absolutely insane. So the things that came out of the social media is just crazy. You know, somebody called me the other day. I was away with my son over the weekend. We went to see the Daytona 500. My wife had like 3 notes here from people that called while I was gone that wanted to talk to me.
Is Anthony going to be there if I come
You know,
in?
this one woman said that, like, you know, she's so happy to watch my videos. It really brightens up her day. I had another guy calls me up one day, goes, yeah, is this Anthony? This Phil? As soon as they say, is this Phil? I know who they are. I know what they're calling for. And I had some people, you know, screaming at me and cursing. So now what I say is, listen, it is. But before we go any further, I just want to let you know this conversation's being recorded. And then you hear click, they just hang up on you because you know they're going to call you to curse you. So this one guy, I said, oh, you know, I just want to let you know your phone call is being recorded. Okay, no problem. I'm a big fan of yours. I love you. Everything's funny that you do. I said, oh, how are you? He goes, not too good. I said, what do you mean not too good? He goes, oh, I just had double knee surgery. Like, you know, he was like calling me for like comfort, you know? And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. My very good friend had knee surgery.
So do we see maybe Anthony the therapist in the future?
No, hell no.
Definitely
not.
But this is kind of like therapy for certain people.
Yeah, let me tell you, for me, doing these videos is therapy. I'll be honest with you.
Well, a lot of influencers that I've spoken to, that I've had conversations with, they say the same thing.
Yeah, because it's bringing me joy. It really is.
They've
it's like
gotten
filling
through
in a
certain
void of
things.
my
Yes,
life. I
yes.
feel that, you know, I needed to be filled in. It brings in people. Look, it brings in business, nice people. It really does. You know, despite the phone calls from these people cursing me out, thinking that I really am like this, it does bring such joy to my life. I like doing it.
Not to sound redundant, but the beautiful thing about this podcast is because people get to see that you are a real person.
Yep.
That
I'm not a robot.
You're not a robot
or a puppet.
Because I've gotten a couple of people like that guy's kind of a dick. I go, well, you don't really.
Yeah, like when we met that night,
like,
when you walked in here, I'll never forget it. It was December 23rd. You walked in with that Parker on. And I said, oh, my God, this guy's here. Here we go. Let's go. Get ready.
Because I have that hard.
And you had your head down a little bit. You, Anthony? Yeah, I'm Anthony. What's up?
I was very polite about it.
Yeah,
I
you
was
were.
I was kind of very timid about it. I'm like, I was like, Anthony? I'm like, and then, but I introduced myself right away.
Yeah, you did.
And then your wife, Vincenza, who's awesome, she came and she gave me kind of like a stink eye too, which was like,
Yeah, of
like
course.
almost,
But
I almost,
if you know me for the rest of your life, you're always going to get that stink eye from her, just so
well,
you know.
because I saw her making faces and I'm like, okay, she's like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I'm like, because I came in, like it was a quiet night. Or it was
Yes.
towards the end of the night, right?
Yeah, it was very late. It was actually closing
You
time.
know, I mean,
We were here late because it was the night before Christmas
walking in with a
Eve.
parka, with a with a scar on my face, like
Yeah.
looking, like I look. Sometimes
Yeah.
people again judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
You did quickly, but then we quickly connected right
Yeah,
away.
exactly.
Like we hit it off right
Yeah,
away.
like
So,
best friends by the end of the night.
here we
Here we are,
So
breaking bread.
salute,
Cheers.
salute
The best.
to a great podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
I wish all the best for you, Anthony.
Thank you. I appreciate
You
it.
got a great family. You got a great
Thank you.
place, and all the success.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you. I told my son the other day, I don't feel successful. The way I succeed in life is not feeling successful. That's how I stay hungry. You know what I'm saying? Always be humble and always be hungry and don't feel like you're successful.
Well, when I do an interview, when I'm being interviewed, people they get all like weirded out. They're like, "Oh, you're actually really nice." I go, "What would you
Yeah.
think I was going to be?" They're like, "Well, kind of like in the spotlight, kind of, in film and TV, and like." But I always believe like the more grounded you are,
Yep.
the more
Yes.
people,
And I feel the moment I feel successful, that's when I'm gonna lose it. Like lose the success. So I have to stay focused that I'm not successful. This way I'm always chasing the ball. You know what I'm saying? I always want to I don't want to hold the ball.
in
I
whatever,
want to chase
yeah,
the ball.
in whatever career or
Yes.
in whatever work you're in. Egos kill careers.
Yep.
Straight out.
And you know what? Egos kill restaurants and all businesses also.
Yeah.
You can't walk around like you have the best product or the best pizza. Nobody has the best pizza.
No, because you're in one day
Yes.
and you're out the next.
And listen, I tell people all the time, they complain about this guy, they complain about that guy over there, this guy's pizza sucks, that guy's... Listen, I'm looking you dead in the eye. I've never had a bad slice of pizza my entire life, ever. I could find something good out of the worst slice of pizza you ever had.
Even the dollar
It's pizza.
Even the dollar slice. Well,
It's
the dollar
pizza.
slices in
That's
Manhattan.
all it is. It's
they're
dough,
a
sauce,
dollar
and
and a quarter
cheese.
now. No, they're $1.25 now or $1.50.
I don't even know.
There are no dollar slices in Manhattan. I mean,
I'm $3.95. I don't care
mean,
about them.
I mean, it's what do they call it? Drunk pizza in Manhattan when you have the dollar
Yeah.
slice. But I've had the pizza, but it's not the best pizza. But they do what they got to do because it's dough and cheese. And what does someone know at 4 a.m? We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there at the diners.
Yes.
Or
And all these pizzerias were all using the same stuff. Every one of us. I guarantee you go into 9 out of 10 places and we're all using the same cheese, the same sauce,
we're not going to
the
stop.
same flour.
We're not going to start plugging like companies
I'm
because
not-
we
not
want
yet.
them to
Let's
be
get a
sponsors.
sponsor
We want
first.
sponsors.
Let's get a nice sponsor and I'll
We're
plug
not
you all
going to
you
start
want.
plugging the cheeses.
And I got a nice phone call from a potential sponsor
There you
today.
go.
Not talking about sponsorship, but we'll talk about this off camera. But anyway, we're all using the same product. It's how we put it together and put our love to it that becomes the product. We take the flour, the sauce, the cheese, and we add our little things to it, and that's how we make it ours, and that's how we make it special.
And we make it special only at Phil's in
Only
Syosset.
in Syosset. Only in
Salute.
Syosset.
All right.
Salute.
Who the f*** is Phil?